Oh, that was awesome. Easy, Brian, easy. Brian. Oh. Easy, Brian.
Oh my God.
Well, she stared right at
Lift your arms up.
Oh man, she's gonna hit it. She's gonna hit it fast.
Oh!
Whoa! Here comes Tiffany. Come on!
You go then.
I need a push.
Caleb's flying. Oh, you don't need me to push you.
Right on my head.
Oh, Molly.
Oh! Oh boy.
Mooska, Mooska.
Mickey Mouse.
Mickey Mouse.
Oh! Oh my gosh! Go.
Well, that didn't work.
Oh!
Okay.
Watch out, Matt. Watch out.
Damn on it. Oh, he's booking.
Yeehaw, baby.
Oh!
Oh, man.
Go! Are y'all?
He's getting pretty blue. Oh, she's gonna take everybody out.
Surfing down Dead Man's Stick. Keep going. Oh, Echo! Echo!
Lean to the left. Everybody lean left. Lean left. There we go.
Yep. She's so annoying.
Go on. No! 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 Please!
Oh no! Molly! What are you doing? Oh my gosh!
Okay, because I want to go on that.
Oh! I don't know. It's a lot. I'm trying to get a thing area for the dog. That's how many inches we got. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, where are you going?
Yeah.
Start turning now. Okay, it's going. Yeah, it's going.
The storm of 2017, and Polly's gonna get piled. Is he there? Oh.
I'm going to get you.
You guys ready? No.
Pointed at it! Oh my god!
Fee! 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 Fee!
There's Garrett. Hello.
It's a hard one, dude. Look at
That
her
was
phone.
beautiful,
Look
Garrett.
Oh!
Salami and cheese sandwiches! Holy crikey!
Now just stand him up. All right, you got it, Heath. Where'd it go? Stop.
Oh my God, he did it.
You're crazy.
He did it.
Are you done?
Who's gonna bring it back up to me? Who's gonna bring it back up to me? Yes, Salvachi!
Oh!
It's got some eyes and some arms. No nose, no mouth. And there is triple trouble now. Coming in hot, folks. Look out. Racer.
Oh man, look at that. Dangerous. No, jeez.
Get that! Go!
Boogity, boogity, boogity.
Losing time, I'm fading fast. I just wanna make it last. Try to let go.
right, good morning, everybody. How's everybody for a Friday before Thanksgiving? Super duper? All right, well, I think we're getting ready to get started here. This is our annual snow training day, and we're doing it a little bit better than last year, I think. We got lots of door prizes up here, so we're gonna have some fun. We're gonna learn some things. We're gonna take some breaks. We're gonna have some outdoor activities, and at the end of the day, we will come back and we'll have awards. We'll have Council Member Bill Bestpitch, who is here at the end of the day at 2:30, just to give some recognition and appreciation for you guys. So let's get started. Question is always, will it snow this year, right? Of course it's gonna snow this year. The better question is, how much will it snow this year? Who's got a prediction? 10 inches. That's probably a pretty good guess. Who's got another prediction? What'd you say, Nan? Where are we gonna put all the snow? Yeah. Well, this was just this week. We already had a winter weather advisor. Everybody knows that. And this is in Snowshoe, West Virginia, not that far from us. You see down in the bottom left there, that was today. Of course, that was yesterday when I took this. But you see, they're making snow, but there's some natural snow up there as well. So yeah, we know it's gonna snow. It always does. And we gotta be ready for it. So let's get some show of hands. How many are brand new to the snow program this year? Brand new. All right, that's a good number of hands. That's a good number of hands. How many have got 5 years or more of experience? All right, that's pretty good. How about 10 years or more? The number of hands go down significantly. 15 years or more? Fewer and fewer. 20 or more? 1, 2, 3. Bobby Johnson. And me, and that's about it. Not many. But the important thing is, those of you that are new to the program, there are plenty of resources here to help you, not just today, but every day when you're out there. All right, let's get into actual predictions. This is the Farmer's Almanac. For those of you that follow the Farmer's Almanac, you see our little area here. Where's my laser pointer? Yeah, so we're right in here, obviously. Unseasonably cold and snowy. This is what the Farmer's Almanac says. Interestingly, the old Farmer's Almanac, same thing. Cold and snowy for this year. This is the same old Farmer's Almanac, you see it up there. Precipitation is in blue, temperatures are in red. You see colder than average November, December, January, February. Especially February and January being colder than average. Precipitation in January being high, according to the old Farmer's Almanac. All right, most of you know we have a paid weather forecasting service. DTN is who provides that. Their briefing here about a month ago, we looked at what happened last year. Most of you will remember we were in a La Nina winter, which typically means on average that there is drier and less snow. A little bit warmer, a little bit drier than was normal, and that's what played out last year. Snowfall last year, we had 12 inches total, most of which was in one event. Most of you will remember that were here. But that one event, we ended up having hotel rooms and we ended up feeding a bunch of folks. That was a pretty good event for those that hadn't been through that size event before. All right, I talked about that La Nina. What does that mean? And you see up at the top here, it weakens through the late winter, according to DTN. So according to Channel 10, 74% of La Nina winters below average snowfall in our part of Virginia. What's La Nina? That simply is when there's a high blocking pressure. That's what this is right here. And it forces the jet stream way up, and then it comes down through our area. And as it does, it's always drier in the south, warmer here. If we were on the north side of this, Ohio, in that area, you get a wetter winter. That's what La Nina is. But as it says, it's going to be less than as it goes through the winter. That's where we are right there. We're kind of in the middle in between the two. Kevin Myatt. So this was from this week here. He had an interview on the local NPR channel. My gut feeling right now, according to Kevin Myatt, may be a little snowier, colder than the La Nina forecast, which again is on average drier and a little warmer than average. The pattern around Hurricane Ian, in particular, he cites, and the pattern around the Halloween where cold air damming banked against the mountains and moist system moving in. So if we have similar events to those, potential winter storm patterns 2 months from now. So just because on average we have drier and warmer events doesn't mean that any particular year is going to be less than it typically is. So this is back to DTN. What are they saying? So the blue here, all this blue is colder than average. And you see this is November and drier November than what is typical. December, significantly colder than average and drier. Does it seem colder already in November than it has been in previous years? Certainly does to me. I mean, in 2019, I think we were actually out on Claytor Lake on Thanksgiving Day because it was warm enough. Not going to happen this year, that's for sure. January, colder again and drier. You see a pattern, right? This is the same La Nina effect. February, a little warmer, which is in contrast to what the old Farmer's Almanac said. Now, who knows? These are all just predictions, right? We will know when it gets here as to what the actual weather's going to be. Precipitation, February, about average. So for the entire winter here, this is December through February, colder, drier, less than we normally have. Forecast leans towards the cold scenario. If the cold does not emerge in November and December, the warm scenario could become more likely. Could trend somewhat near warmer than the last 2 winters. That's the bottom line for DTN. Forecast snow anomaly, you're looking at 1 to 3 inches less than we normally have as an average. So what's the average snowfall in Roanoke? 20 inches. You've heard this presentation before, that's good. Yep, that's good, 20 inches. Now this one actually says 19. I think this includes a couple of the more recent winters where we've had less than average. And it's a moving 30-year average. But we've had some big events, no question, in Roanoke. Just in my time here and other folks' time here in the last 20 years, we certainly have had some big events. 3 feet of snow in December 1890. Can you imagine 3 feet of snow? What would we do with 3 feet of snow? That would not be fun for any of us, would it? In 1966, 20 inches. 1993, how many of you remember this event? The blizzard of 1993. So that was my senior year in college. I was actually on spring break down in Florida. We drove back from Florida to Blacksburg in the snow. We made it home, even though they had closed the interstates. But that was a wild, crazy winter, for sure. So that was the third week of March. I always say March is not the end of snow season, because that third week of March is when we had the blizzard of 93. That was a little crazy, a whole lot crazy, to be honest. It's hard to believe that was 25 years ago, more than 25 years ago at this point. I guess that means I'm getting old, huh? 1996, how many of you remember this one? Yeah. So I was working at that point. I hadn't come to the city yet, but I was working that snow. That was pretty significant. 23 inches, record-breaking, January 8th, 1996. And you see there that Roanoke's right here in the middle. But upwards of 48 inches up in West Virginia, 36 inches. That was a pretty massive event. And then 2009, the winter of 2009. So that was my first year looking after the entire snow program for the city. That was a trial by fire. That was one where we had almost 18 inches in 24 hours, and it started at 5 o'clock on a Friday. That was a nightmare. But it happens, and we have to be prepared for it. That same winter, that was the January that we worked 17 or 22 days straight? 12 hours on, 12 hours off? 21 days. Who said that? Yeah. Yeah, it was quite the winter. That was the year that the local advertising started picking up on the snow removal program. In the beginning, we were not doing well, but by the end of January, things were clicking pretty well because everybody knew what they were doing and got out and got it done. And it's amazing, even after 21 days of 12 hours on, 12 hours off, there was very little conflict. I mean, everybody knew what to do, went and did it. We just went and got it done. By the end of 20 days, 12 hours on, 12 hours off, everybody was tired, had had enough. This one here, total snowfall, so that's the winter of 2009, 2010, that's 43 inches. I know you probably can't read that. 43 inches. Versus the winter of 2013, 2014, there were 28 inches. But that winter of 2013, 2014, there were 6 days with single digit or below 0 days. So some would say that's a worse winter in terms of dealing with the snow. You had less snow, but it was bitter cold. I certainly remember that one. Total number of snow days with snow cover, 40 days in 2009, 2010. Only 12 in 2013, 2014. And you see, this is a graph going all the way back to 1900. You can see it varies widely 44 inches, virtually nothing the next years. 2 inches here, 1937, 38, 63 inches. You see the 60s, the snowy 60s. And then here in the 90s, you've got these 56-inch peaks, 86, 87, 95, 96. And even 93, you had a couple of big winters, but you also had winters where we didn't have much of anything. But you can see this, there's almost a minimum line here at 10 inches. So I would be shocked if we didn't have at least 10 inches this winter. It's pretty consistent. 2003, 2005, we had a peak. And then 2009, 2010, that 43 inches. Last year we had 12 inches. Year before 10. Year before that, it was like 2. It was like nothing. So what's my point in all this? We got to be prepared. And those of you that are here, why do we do what we do? Because unless we can do our job, schools can't go. Of course, the kids love it when the schools are closed. But the administrators don't love it so much. Valley Metro can't run. Essential workers. If Valley Metro can't run, essential workers can't get to their jobs. And that's one of the biggest things we do, is make sure that they can get to where they need to be. Lots of accidents and incidents for sure. That always happens. Now, granted, that's off the interstate, but that doesn't mean we don't have plenty of them here. Vehicle crashes. The better we are at our job, the fewer vehicle crashes there'll be. Power outages. That's another big one. And emergency response delays. Let me play this one here for you.
Well, first responders continue to answer their call of duty in these slick situations that we have outside right now.
Roanoke City Fire EMS crews tell us they've received an influx of calls during the storm. WSLS 10's Christina Craig joins us now live in downtown Roanoke. So, Christina, I understand the snow is causing rescue crews delays in getting to where help is needed.
Yes, there's no doubt those who braved these roads were slipping and sliding because of the snow and wet conditions. And Roanoke Fire and first responders say this is part of the reason why it's taking a little bit longer to get where help is needed. In fact, the Roanoke City Fire Chief tells us trucks can't go too fast in this weather, maybe up to 40 miles per hour. And this is because crews are not able to travel at those normal speeds. As a result, calls take about 30% longer of the initial response time. And the chief says their job is to help others in accidents, not become part of one. Therefore, it's also watching out for other drivers on the road.
Our calls normally take about 55 minutes to complete, and when you're on a snow event, it may take as much as an hour and a half because of the travel time getting to the scene and getting to the hospital and then getting cleared up.
Now, the chief also adds they have increased, the department has increased their staffing for this winter storm, and typically they'll add one extra person on the ambulance just to be safe. Reporting live outside of the studio, I'm Christina Craig.
So when it snows, that's really one of the times that we are in public works more important than public safety. Because if we don't do our job, they can't do their job. Oftentimes, council or citizens, you know, public safety, schools are number one, public safety is number two, solid waste gets their due. Public works is kind of down the list oftentimes in terms of priority. We know that. We see it every day. When it snows, though, all the eyes are on us. So what you do is important, critically important. So when there's snow in the forecast, we've got to be prepared to work. Everybody in this room. We know that. Everybody that's been here before, that's nothing new. You'll be notified as soon as we can about when the shift's going to start. We usually do that as a group. We have coordinators on a Zoom call, and we try to make decisions as quick as we can and disseminate the information. That way you know. You know as soon as we know what we think is going to happen. That DTN custom hourly forecast, we use that to determine when to bring folks in, because the overtime costs, running everybody on overtime, $1,500 an hour is what it cost. $1,500 an hour. Back in the day, we just brought people in when there was a chance of snow, 7 to 7. And folks would sit here all night, full shift. That was a lot of money going out, $1,500 an hour. So we try to be a little more strategic these days with expenditures and how much it costs. So I'm actually going to read through these just to make sure that everybody knows what they're going, what their role is. So on the north side, day shift coordinators, you got Mike, Bobby, Keon, Gerald, Jeff Plants at the salt barn, and Marty Hall is your AccuBrine person up in the salt barn shed. You got Eric and Adam, Chris, Marcus, Bill, John, Lynn, Bradley, Shay, and Jeff on the anti-icing. So those are zone leads day shift. Night shift, you got Chris Price and Brandon and Daryl. John Hicks is loading salt, and Cindy's in the AccuBrine shed. Night shift on the north side, you got Donald and Jeff and Robert and Kevin and Alfred, James, Donald, Alan, Alex, and Kevin. So that's on the north side. And we seated everybody by zone because that doesn't, you're not necessarily with that person every day. So it's good to know who's in your zone, especially new folks, and you can know who to look to. But anybody that's on this list, they're leads, zone leads, or they're coordinators. On the south side, you got Laura and Greg and Bill, Sam and Renee doing sidewalks and greenways. Obviously, Christine's is in the shop. You got Caleb and Lucas and Tim, Travis, Randy, Eugene Samuels, Ben, Jamie, George, and Will Cole. So these are your zone leads on the south side. And then on night shift, you got Brian and Travis and Trevor and Nick in the OPE shop. Night shift zone leads, you got Suzanne and Trevor, Wayne, Dylan, Brandon, Travis, Chris, Andy, Rodney, and Brian. So any of the folks that are on this list obviously have some experience. So if you're a new person in that zone, these are the folks that you need to know that can help you out. All right, so at the beginning of the shift here, you always get a map. Pre-check sheet, check your truck, because that's a CDL requirement, right? Everybody does that? Everybody has to do that? It's part of your CDL training. Before and after, check your vehicle, check your plow, check your spreader. Here's that check sheet a little bigger for those of you that haven't seen it before. This snow number is important. The shift date, especially if we get into 4, 5, 6 days in a row, it's easy to get the pages messed up and you go, oh, what day was this? And then what time is this? Shift time, end time, especially day shift, night shift. It's easy to get the paperwork messed up and confused. Snow vehicle, and then all these things are standard checks. Pre-trip is here, post-trip is here. Snow plow, cutting edges, caster wheels for those that still have caster wheels, skids for those that still have skids, some do not. Moldboard, plow frame to truck, all that checking out okay. And I know this says pre-trip and post-trip. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't check it during the shift, and we'll talk about that in just a little while. Chemical spreaders, flight chain, pre-wet system, make sure it's working and operational. Spreader frame, hydraulic connections, spreader lights, that's a big one, especially for safety and for night shift. Got to have those lights working. And on the back here, comments. So we do pay attention. The coordinators do pay attention to what's written on here. So if you've got an issue with the vehicle, make a note of it. That's what the space is for. All right. Tell you what we're going to do. We're going to watch this real quick, and then we're going to go ahead and take a break. But let's play this first. Mouse.
Yesterday, late morning, just before noon, one of our snowplow drivers, a veteran driver, over 23 years with the department, Terry Jacobson, was westbound on US 6 in Spanish Fork Canyon, plowing the inside lanes, doing his work, clearing the road for the public, and a semi-truck decided to pass him on the right-hand side. That truck clipped the plow and sent the plow across traffic through the guardrail and then went down over 300 feet of embankment, rolling several times. Terry was injured seriously, transported to the hospital. He's got multiple injuries, still in the hospital, but we're thankful he's going to recover.
He says he doesn't remember very much other than going through the rail and rolling down the hill. I don't think people realize what our drivers really go through, the stress involved with it. With this accident, it's proof what our message is don't pass us, don't pass us, just stay behind us. Even though you're late, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If that driver would have stayed behind, Terry would have been home tonight.
This was by far and away the most serious crash we've had with one of our snowplows, but this is the fourth one that we've had so far this year. And so, you know, we want to make sure that we help people understand to stay back, to slow down, and to let these snowplow operators do the jobs that they need to do.
We've had plenty of accidents here in Roanoke, crashes. Thankfully, nothing of that significance. But we'll talk about that in just a little while. Miss Kristen, you want to come on over and we'll do some door prizes and
door prize time.
Oh, you got them on?
Yep. Let's see. Ticket ending in 9876. Come on down. You're the next contestant. We have some good prizes, guys.
So what do we got, Kristen? We got some
Oh, there's all kinds of stuff. We got
portable
some
grills.
We got some tabletop pool tables, tabletop tennis. We got mystery items and some bags. Anything you want.
Mugs and coffee.
You might
and
find a
gloves
hoodie similar to the one I'm wearing.
all kinds of good stuff.
No, sorry. 9880. Come on down. Oh. And there's stuff on both sides, so pick whatever you want.
And thank you to Stormwater for providing the bags that all the goodies are in, the swags.
9892. Oh, come on down. Let me move. Nine 902. Anybody? Don't be shy.
Gotta be the winner, James. Gotta be the winner.
We'll try another one. 9896. Oh. I'll come to your office. 9850. Yeah.
Yeah. Donald. Yes, they have to be in that order. Ah, Shay, there you go. You're welcome.
One more. 9854. Thank you. Your choice. Get a mystery bag. Oh. Nine 9855. You got to show what you got too, by the way. If you get a mystery bag. Thank you, sir.
Couple.
9912. Oh. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. You're welcome. Oh, what'd you get? Let's see what you got. Okay.
Nice, thank y'all.
Mm-hmm.
And Miss Kristen made those, so those are custom designed.
Custom made.
Custom made.
All right, let's see what we got. $99.42. Roz. All right. Thank you, sir. Choice. Oh, a blanket. Cup with a snowplow. Something to go in it.
That's good. Yeah. All right, well, it is just before 1:45, so let's take a 15-minute break. Be back at 9 o'clock and we'll get going again.
jump in or, yeah.
We'll have to do that.
So I think at the end, Dwayne, before they go to break for lunch, we need to let them know that when they're done with lunch, we're going to give them their bingo.
I got this.
You got a thumb drive?
No, I emailed it to you.
Anxiety goes up. No.
Let's bring it back down. I'm not a public speaker. Well, I put it in my phone, so when I do this, it's just because, like...
At least you have it.
I just wrote it.
Yeah.
I just wrote it.
We need a prompter.
Yeah.
It would make it easier, less nervous.
Like I'm POTUS. Can you give me a POTUS thing? You'll be okay.
I guess that's a good thing.
He says, I guess.
I do, but I don't have the lights. Yes! Yeah, I've only been traveling with like one. Then I bought my first summer.
rocking and a rolling, rocking and a I can throw some hats out in the way. Huh?
Forgot about Adam. Marty, do you have anything to say? Thanks, Wheel. I'm good. Thompson said if you need any help, call him.
Greg.
So if he needs help,
Right here? Put it right in the middle. He's got to get up there and dance around the flat. Yeah. The coffee spill. Go see. Try to clean it up. Hello.
Bob lives. Trying to figure out. Shake this one. That sounds like it's glass. This one's heavy. Probably a book.
This is from Beth Fox. She's in here.
Okay, thank you.
Right where next break. That's why I'll have him sneak in.
He's gonna go like that. Hey, just be careful. We spilled some coffee right here. I don't want you to get fall.
Okay. Did it all get?
Kind of.
Okay.
But we're gonna have housekeeping clean it up. Don't worry. What? Huh? What's in it? Like lights, flare lights, I think. Ah. So they're individual lights. So, got a tape measure, got a little thingy, another little thingy. You get one light. You shine bright like a diamond. Oh, it goes this way too. And it's magnetic.
How you doing? All right.
Start with that. This is to show you what's underneath.
Can I get you guys anything before I go?
See if I can round the things.
Okay. You want me to go this way? We're good for now. I'll go this way. Ooh, I like your prizes. I like those lights. I tried to stick it to my head, but
They wouldn't do it.
You saw if I see right here, leg room.
well, I mean, if we need it.
Yeah.
What's that? Hey, are we gonna get like tables and chairs over here for lunch? Tables and chairs set up for lunch?
Probably so.
Right in here? Yeah.
I mean, some will eat outside
I was gonna say,
anyway.
I don't know that we'll have enough,
But at least we
but
got
we'll probably have like 25, 30.
people who are cold.
Okay, yeah, I'll go talk to Travis.
Okay, thank you.
Is that a chair? Is that a chair right there?
I think the other one that's sitting up in the bag is like tabletop tennis. The other ones are like.
Tabletop tennis.
This is mine, but did you just come in? I came in late, so I just spent. Yeah, Kelsey brought me something.
All right, we're getting ready to get started here. So we got Wayne Farley here with our fleet division. He's going to talk about the new AVL system. So we're changing systems, and I'll let Wayne talk about that. So go ahead, Wayne.
Thank you. Appreciate the time today. So just set back, these 3 hours will fly by like nothing, and then we'll be ready to have lunch at some point after that, right? So as Dwayne indicated, we're changing over from the current AVL system that we have to a new product called GeoTab. And this GeoTab product is just going to do the same thing that we did with the AVL system, only it gives us some telemetry off of the vehicle itself. So if a check engine light comes on, a DEF light comes on, things of that sort, it will give us some alerts. So that'll help us from a maintenance perspective. And it's going on every vehicle at the city. The snowplows and solid waste trucks and some others are going to be the first ones out of the gate. But trust me, every vehicle we own will have it on there. And it's going to help us with the preventative maintenance, pieces and so forth. So I always like to start every presentation with a little bit of safety. So last year we had a snow plow. I think it was a bulldozer. So they're plows, not dozers. So this is the part where you laugh. This is the good part. So no names were used, no photos with people in it or whatever. But this was actually what happened. So these things are, massive machines that weigh a lot, and it will get caught up in the snow as you're plowing and so forth. This one got pulled into a berm right out here next to the airport, where two roads, kind of coming together, and they got caught up in that slush, pulled over in there, and then actually caused us a lot of downtime, right? So as they were trying to get out, help themselves get out, we broke some axles and tore up some rear ends and so forth, so it was a costly downtime to the city. And so as we were talking earlier about the cost of, per hour for the shifts, the cost to equipment is not free either. So, if you get stuck and you work a minute or two and you can't get yourself out, call in on the radio. We've got wreckers, we've got people to help, get stuff out. And maybe we can avoid some damage to the vehicles, and then just be careful out there that, these things will get away from you before you know it. So just sharing. So basically the GeoTab platform is something that we're going to use in the public works sector. Like I said, it's going to cover the solid waste trucks, so that, as time evolves, we hope to have an interface to the city's webpage, so people can look and see when their streets have been plowed, when their trash has been picked up, when other things, come into play, when their green space is mowed, things of that sort. It's going to be tied in with GIS. Laura's been very helpful to get us the integration technology that we need to bring into this platform. But, like I said, we're going to start out with the snow plow component and solid waste right out of the gate. And so basically, I know this is an eye chart for the folks in the back, so I apologize. Basically, it's tracking when your plow is down and when you're spreading salt. And it's just going to show that on the map from a historical perspective, right? And so if somebody needs to know where a plow is or what you're doing on your route, the snow coordinators can look at the software, kind of see that information. If a citizen's calling in, complaining, not that they ever call and complain on anything, but if they happen to call and complain, on that one day, we can kind of look and see, maybe you're 2 streets over, we can give them a heads up, kind of put them at ease a little bit, and so forth. Eventually, we'll hope to have some sort of a static look for them, not to be able to actually track the vehicles, but to just see what's been plowed and, what's been done up to a certain point in time. So I think it'll be a great tool, as we move forward. And then materials management. This is a new component that we're doing this year. We don't have the capabilities with all of our plows today to manage the amount of salt. We're working with the liquid part wheel and trying to figure out if we can tell, how much material we're putting down in the AccuBrine. But, that's our goal at some point, is to be able to tell that. It helps Dwayne when we go back to VDOT at the end of the year, saying this is how much tonnage of salt we put down, this, that, and the other. At some point, it's going to be an environmental concern, and we'll have to be reporting it out, so hope to get this component going in the next season. So, but I just wanted to kind of give you a heads up. So as you're running those plows and as you're turning on those spreaders, you know, we hope to be able to track some more information. And so I start with safety, I end with safety, right? So on the right-hand side of this, in Florida, when we have ice on the road, it just means Bill knocked over his drink. But at the end of the day, we just, you know, we don't have too much ice down in Florida. But as we go with these trucks, again, like I said earlier, there's a lot of weight there. There's a lot of, you know, things, even with chains on, four-wheel drive, people think four-wheel drive, and we're going to have a little class on that this afternoon. But, you know, people think, oh, I got to have the four-wheel drive. Four-wheel drive will get you in trouble faster sometimes, and sometimes it's because we get real brave with four-wheel drive, thinking it's the be-all, end-all, and we can't mess up with that, and it'll get you in trouble faster. But, you know, like I said, as we go through the snow events, as we get to the different aspects of it, you know, there's going to be some icing and so forth. So just be, you know, just be cautious out there. Questions, thoughts, concerns?
Stuck in there. So why do we have AVL? What's the point? Tracking, yeah. But the performance measures, if you remember. So what's the performance measure for arterials and collectors? %, within 24 hours of snowfall ending. 90% of arterials and collectors within 24 hours of snowfall ending. That's arterials and collectors. AVL and the tracking helps us say, yes, we achieved that, or no, we did not. So we're not looking at this system to see where individual folks are, but if a citizen calls and says, my street has not been plowed, we can look on there and go, well, yes, it was. It was plowed 2 days ago. It has snowed since. We'll be back. I mean, that's why we do it. It's not that we're Big Brother looking up, checking in on folks. That's not the point at all. It gives Wayne some good information in terms of maintenance, and it gives us good information in terms of operations. So that's really all it's about. And in the private sector, this is pretty standard.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, any questions, thoughts about AVL, telematics, whatever you want to call it? Okay. Wayne, thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate you being here. All right, so let's go back to that safety. Who can tell me about an accident that they remember here at the city involving a snowplow? Vehicle crash. Come on now, don't be shy. One. Gee, where'd you see that one? Come on, those of you that have been here a while. Yeah, Kristen's got some gift cards for those that will answer the question.
About went in a lake.
Where was that?
Up yonder towards the
Section
hospital.
9, that's right, yep.
Yeah.
That was a couple of years ago?
Yep.
Yeah. Going down the hill, it was icy, rolled close to the lake, yeah. That private lake that's over there. How about another one? Who's got one? What? Hold on, let her get the microphone over here.
The Uber driver was stopped in the middle of the road in downtown on Campbell Avenue, came right around the corner, not even 20, 15 feet from the curve. And just like Wade said, these things are pretty heavy, so it doesn't stop. And yeah, hit the Uber driver from Michigan. That was fun.
Yeah. All right.
Pretty simple.
Can be serious.
Just
can be minor. Who else has got another one? Kevin Melvin, what you got over there? Hold on. We got to get the microphone over to you. Kristen's getting her steps in.
All right. Dude named Bones was driving a 2500 series truck and it caught on fire. When we got over there, he was sitting on the side, letting it burn up. Remember that?
That's crazy, man.
The truck was the signals truck. One of the signals trucks caught on fire.
That's been a good long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for your service.
Bobby Johnson's got one. What's that? Secondhand stories? Sure.
I was driving truck 479. Old truck 479 was a crew cab pickup truck. I was working with Larry Carter, Bobby Platts, and we were coming down Apperson, or one of its many names, and coming down toward Mudlick, and I was making a U-E to come back up. We were opening up the Apperson down there, and Larry comes on the radio and he says, "Hey man, somebody just passed me flying," and about the time I got sideways, I saw the car, and it was on the brakes and T-boned me, right there in the middle of the road. So lights were on, everything was flashing. So I mean, but you know, there's no accounting for people.
No accounting for people. That's right. You never know what's going to happen. You never know what the next guy's doing. Wayne Embry's got one over here, Kristen. She's coming. She's coming.
Yeah, last year we were cleaning out, hauling from downtown, and we had the road blocked off, and some dude just drove right into one of our trucks. Stopped, flashes on, and he got out and ran. I think he was driving his mom's car.
That's pretty crazy. All right. Anybody else got one? We got a couple down here, Kristen. We'll do two more.
A few years back, a friend of mine, Jeff Bowles, he was coming down Shenandoah, and I was behind him spotting him. Car come out on 29th or 30th and didn't stop at the stop sign, and his plow just opened that car up.
It'll happen. It's like a can opener. It's like a can opener. All right, we had a couple down here.
My apologies. I haven't been here long enough to really have a good story, but my coworkers have told me stories about somebody who ended up going down an embankment a few years back. I don't remember who it was. I believe it was Tim Clemmer who told me about this, but they were coming down a hill and ended up slipping off the road and going down an embankment somewhere in the city, if that helps.
Interesting.
Anyone remember that one?
Yeah, I was going to say the accident with Doug Beard was over on Bristol, and he was coming down Bristol, ended up against the guardrail, and actually flipped the spreader out of the back of the truck. Had to get it out with all the way down the slope. Yeah, that was pretty serious. What you got, George?
I was going to say, when I was handling a lot of the accidents back when I was in transportation, ran into a bunch of them. Bandy Road, particularly, you had like 2 or 3 when Tara was here. Went into a couple of roads. I think there was about 2 that flipped while we were there. You've got Peachin coming down. One slammed right into the back of the van while he was plowing. And then the most memorable one I had was we had one where the guy, he has a pickup truck. It was Mark. And when he was going down Peachin,
the plow buckled when it hit. Well, it buckled, he hit a patch of ice, and it slid underneath the same van that got hit the year before. And he was stuck. And we couldn't figure out how to get it unstuck, because if we did anything, it was either gonna coil up and hit the van underneath. We couldn't go one way or the other, so they took 2 wreckers to come out and pull, and they had to pull from one side of Peach and then the other to turn him out, just to get him to come out without, so we wouldn't hit that van, because the guy was in there just cussing us out the entire time. So.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, it's amazing how those plow blades flip, and at some point they get where they won't come back up. They need new springs. Yeah. All right, well, those are some good stories. The one that sticks in my head is the one with Doug Beard over on Bristol, where he flipped the spreader out of the back of the truck. That was scary for him, certainly, but it was scary for the rest of us too. That could have been pretty serious. But even then, just putting tailgates on, I remember one of the guys, and this has been quite some time ago, ended up having the tailgate hit him in the head when he was trying to. There you go. You're right, yeah. I mean, that's, even when you're prepping for snow, safety is a big deal. Taking those tailgates on and off, those things are heavy. They can hurt. All right, so let's get back here. Safety first is always an important thing. Okay, this is left in there from last year. Actually, that's pretty blurry there, but COVID has not gone away. Flu has not gone away. RVS or RSV, whatever it is now. I mean, the simple fact is, if somebody's been in a truck for 12 hours and you're getting ready to get in it, it makes sense to clean that truck. Just in transportation, we've had 2 positive COVID cases this week. So do your due diligence, clean your truck, door handles, instrument panels, gear shift knobs, all the other devices, everything you use during the shift. What else? The plow controls, right? That's a big one. It's kind of like your remote on your TV. How many folks clean their remote on their TV? It's one of the most disgusting things in your house, I promise you, in terms of the level of bacteria. The other important safety piece, I'm sure some of you have seen this before, but in terms of securing your lunchbox or water bottle or whatever it is that you've got in the truck. We would never do that traveling to and from home, but if you're in a snowplow, it makes a lot of sense to do that, because you don't necessarily have control of where that truck's going at some point. And if you're in a crash, that lunchbox can go flying. And if it does, it may end up hitting you. I mean, the last thing we would want is for anybody to flip a truck, but if you flip a truck and that lunchbox not secured, that could be pretty serious damage. Drink bottles, coffee bottles, anything that's in the floorboard, keep that floorboard clean. UFOs, no UFOs. Of course, wearing your seatbelt, that's a no-brainer, right? Everybody does that. And we now have, or will soon have, the new reflective, highly visible seatbelt covers. Check your radio at the beginning of the shift, that's pretty important. Making sure it's set to the right channel, especially if you get it from one side and we're using it on the other side. North side versus south side, because they're on different snow channels. Speaking of radio, short and professional, right? Keep it short, keep it professional on the radio, because that is monitored by downtown. You need to know that, especially for the new folks that do monitor that radio traffic. All right, let's look at techniques here. What happened? What's going on? Why is it not working here? What happened to me? Technology's great when it works, right? Well, all right, so that's four-wheel drive trucks. Obviously, contractors use those, and that's what that was geared towards in terms of clearing parking lots, but we certainly do the same thing. One of the most applicable items in there. Was this. If you got less than 2 inches of snow, you can use the full blade, 3/4 of a blade for 6-inch snow and a half a blade for 6 inches or more. And why is that? Why do you only do that? Because it spills off the backside, right? Now, granted, the first time you go through somewhere, you're probably using a straight blade to go through. That's an important piece. And the deeper the snow, the more difficult it is, and the more passes it takes. Who's got some experience with some deep snow and four-wheel drives? Yeah? I know we've got some folks that have done that for sure. I mean, once you get past 8 or 9 inches, it gets pretty tough with a four-wheel drive. It doesn't want to push, especially if it's wet snow. Those that have been around a while know that. Stop you dead in the tracks, that's right, sometimes. Yeah. All right, so everybody's seen this before, at least those are the folks that have been here for a while, so let me do my little. All right, so this is North Zone 5, and you see I'm doing the outline here. So that's by zone, everybody's seated by zone. And this is a subzone, so Zone 5A North. And then as you go through, the ideal thing to do is break that subzone even further and work this particular area. Make sure that's good, and then you work this particular area, making sure that's good. Who's got some thoughts about that in terms of how to work streets? You can do figure 8s, you can go corners around, you can work with multiple people in the same zone. We got some gift cards, come on now, speak up guys. Guys and gals. Main route and bus routes, yeah, that's for sure. In the neighborhoods in particular, I'm talking about working the neighborhood streets. What's the process? Because it's easy just to go from street to street to street, and now you're 4 or 5 blocks down and you've got all these streets behind you that haven't been done. How do you make sure you get them all? What's that? Split them in half, yeah. That's a good option. Over in Southwest, so one does all the numbered streets, one does the cross streets. That way you make sure you get them all. Do them all the way through and then come back. I think the most critical piece to any of this is you got to know where the other folks in your zone are doing, what they're doing, where they are. Because if you don't work together, invariably you're going to miss something. Now granted, if you miss something, we'll see it on the AVL and we'll catch it the next shift, but that's not the intent. The intent is for everybody to work a zone solid and not have to come back. Do it once, do it right, move on. Especially as we get towards cleanup. We don't want to have to go back. Yeah, that's good. We'll talk about hills in just a little bit. Some things you have to skip, or some things you have to create a landing area before you go down a hill. It's easy when you've just got the grids, but yeah, hills in particular are ones you've got to circle back to, because you can only do pieces at a time. Good point, Kevin. Work together. That's what I was just mentioning there. Plowing and salting hills. That's Bristol right there, for those of you that haven't been on Bristol. That's looking down. And as Bristol goes down, it makes a curve. And Doug Beard in particular, as he was going down, lost traction as he was making that curve, slid into the guardrail, flipped that spread out of the back of the truck, scared him to death. He was a basket case. What'd you say? Yes. Yeah, Bristol's one of the steepest hills in the city. Yeah, yeah. It doesn't do it justice. You can't really tell it's as steep as it is. But it is steep, especially you get some snow and ice on that one. Yeah, that one's a big deal. What other hills do we have in the city that folks are worried about? Linden, Struthers, Mill Mountain is another good one. Struthers, who said that? Hunter's another good one. Yeah. Ravenwood, Peakwood, the old Mayor's Road. Yeah, we got plenty of elevation in the city. There's no doubt about that. No doubt about that. So what do you do? Call in. All right, so the thing about these technique training videos, so you've got the contractor set, that's BOSS, which most of that applies to us, but doesn't all. This is a DOT video, which again, most of it applies to us, but not all. So there's no municipal training video. Maybe one day we'll have to create our own. But this is Iowa DOT, and it's pretty good video. A lot of good information in it. Yeah, that's a good point there, John. So that's, when we talk about creating a landing, what do? You salt going back, you push it as much as you can push it, and then you salt it and let it sit. So at the bottom, regardless of how you come down the hill, that it's not slick at the bottom, so that you can stop before you go into the next intersection. Creating a landing area, that is a big deal for any hill in the city. And you got to work with your plow truck and your four-wheel drives work together to make that happen. And your four-wheel drive always acts as a spotter. If traffic's coming or not, for the dump truck come down the hill. Because you never want to come down blind on a hill without somebody at the bottom knowing what's out there and having a landing area at the bottom. All right, let's take a watch of this one here.
In this video, you'll learn many of the basic plowing techniques needed to clear roadways safely and efficiently during winter weather events. These techniques have been used and refined over many years and will help you in developing your own plowing methods for clearing both two-lane roads and multiple-lane highways. Operation of V-plows, wings, and ice blades will be covered in other videos. As you do anytime you begin a shift, be sure to secure any loose items. Utilizing the passenger side seatbelt or a bungee cord is necessary. Also, be sure to familiarize yourself with all cab controls. The Iowa DOT has a diverse fleet of trucks in any given shop. If you are in an unfamiliar truck, the controls may not be where you expect them. Know the locations of all plow, wing, spreader, ice blade, and vehicle controls so that you can operate them without taking your eyes off the road. It is also a good idea to be familiar with the operation of your two-way radio and to check its operation prior to leaving the garage. You will likely be assigned a two-way, two-lane route on your first shift alone. These routes are great for learning the extent and operation of the truck and plows. As you begin plowing, stay in your own lane and position the left side of the plow near the center of the road. Angle your plow to the right to push the snow off the right-hand side of the road. Always try to uncover the center line on your first pass. Typically, you will also use a wing to increase your plowing width and push snow further away from the road surface. In both high and low wind conditions involving snow, you may have a difficult time seeing the roadway center line. When you can't see the center line, you may have to rely on using the edge of the road and rumble strips as your guide. Veteran plow operators often watch the shoulder for signs of rock or grass if there is not a hard surface. You can also use delineators, guardrails, road signs, mailboxes, and other objects to help give you some idea where the center line may be. You can usually feel when the front wheel goes off the road onto the shoulder. If this happens, gently compensate by carefully steering back toward the center line. Do not overcorrect. This can cause you to enter into the oncoming lane. When you get to the end of your route, find a safe place to turn around. Once you have made your turn, position the plow to catch the snow that was left near the center of the road. Continue making passes until both the driving lanes are open and have returned to near normal winter driving conditions, or you are assigned to a different route. Everything you have learned about plowing a two-lane highway applies to plowing a multiple-lane highway or interstate, with the exception of where you make your first pass. As with any road, the primary goal is to provide a pathway for vehicles to get through. Where you plow that first lane will depend on whether there is a median wide enough to hold the snow. If there is a wide median, make your first pass in the right-hand lane with your plow angled to the right. Move the snow on the first pass to the right shoulder. With your second pass, angle your plow to the left and move the snow to the left towards the median. Oftentimes, you will be assigned as part of a team of trucks. One plow will take the left lane and wing the left shoulder, while the other will take the right lane and wing the right shoulder. Here, the front truck is in the right lane, with their plow to the right, pushing snow toward the shoulder. The second truck follows, with the plow angled to the left. This truck must be lined up so that it catches the snow left behind by the first truck. When plowing to opposite sides, leave sufficient space and allow traffic to pass between the trucks. If the median is too narrow to facilitate snow storage, you'll have to push all the snow to the right. The lead truck pushes snow from the left lane into the right lane, while the second truck lines up to catch the snow left by the first truck and continues pushing it to the right shoulder. If you are working alone and in a situation where you can't move snow to the left, make your first pass in the left lane, then follow up by catching the snow that was left by your first pass and continue pushing it to the right. Sometimes, even if a road has a wide median, it may not have enough capacity to hold all of the snow that needs to be plowed. Before deciding the method of plowing, you should determine the capacity of the median based on the amount of snow on the roadway and the size of the median and the area to be plowed. Now that you have learned the basics of clearing two-lane highways, here are some specific things you should keep in mind when plowing snow. A maximum speed of 25 miles per hour has proven to be the most efficient speed for plowing snow. When speed exceeds 25 miles per hour, the plow tends to skip over snow and requires extra trips to clear the leftover snow. Excessive speed can also damage snowplow equipment very easily. Be especially aware of your speed when plowing in town. If you are moving too fast, snow will be thrown off the plow and could possibly damage property. Also, watch for pedestrians who may be in the line of flying snow. Speed should also be adjusted based on driving and wind conditions. You may need to maintain a slower speed to ensure snow is removed from the roadway and does not get blown back onto the roadway after you pass. Drivers rely on you to make their trip safe, so always drive defensively. Don't assume others see or hear your approach. Be on constant watch so that you can compensate for others' mistakes. Scan well ahead for oncoming traffic and potential hazards. In snowy conditions with decent visibility, that's about a quarter of a mile or 12 to 15 seconds ahead. Also, scan your mirrors every 3 to 5 seconds to check for drivers attempting to pass you. If a long line of vehicles forms behind you, use your judgment about moving over to allow traffic to pass by. If you make the decision to pull over, always signal your intentions and pick your spot carefully. Shoulders and driveways may be icy and slick or soft and muddy at various times during the winter season. Also, always be alert for emergency vehicles. If an emergency vehicle is approaching and needs to pass, pull over to the side of the road if safe to do so. If it is not possible to pull over completely, slow down and pull over to the right as far as possible. If you should come upon an accident and believe you need to render assistance, be sure you use universal precautions in treating victims so as not to endanger your own health. Call your supervisor if you leave your vehicle, render aid, or if a vehicle needs to be moved. When roads are covered with snow and ice, the distance required to stop is far greater than under normal conditions. Try to anticipate the speed needed to slow down and stop and leave yourself plenty of extra room. Similar to stopping, turning takes more room too. When you add a plow to the front of your truck, the truck becomes longer and wider. You won't be able to make a lot of turns that you would without the plow attached, so think ahead. Be selective in finding a spot to turn around. Make sure there is plenty of space to turn and that you have a clear view in all directions. When plowing, you will notice that snow pushes the truck back in the opposite direction of your plow. Even driving on straight sections of road can be challenging, as the snow has a considerable effect on how your truck handles. If you are plowing to the right, the snow will push your truck to the left and vice versa. When there is significant snow on the road, you'll have to oversteer to counteract the force of the plow. At times, you may need to plow when there is heavy congestion. Traffic and congestion can make it difficult to clear the road safely and quickly. Remain calm and proceed with caution. Operate your plow defensively, knowing that drivers may make erratic movements in an attempt to pass or get around you. Visibility is a constant issue when you are plowing. Keep your windows as clean as possible so you can always see in all directions. If your truck is outfitted with heated mirrors, make sure they are turned on at the beginning of your shift. Additionally, keep your windshield wipers clean and keep your lights on so that other drivers can see you. There may be times where you have to slow down because of low visibility. In some extreme cases, you may even have to pull off the road. Operating a snowplow, especially in severe weather conditions, can be stressful. Get plenty of sleep before you arrive for your shift. Once you are on the job, drink liquids and eat enough food to stay alert and keep your energy level up. Also, whenever you feel the need, stop your truck, get out for some fresh air, and stretch. Wear comfortable clothing appropriate for the conditions so that you stay warm and dry even when you need to leave the truck. Always wear high-visibility clothing when outside the cab for safety, and let your supervisor know if you ever need to leave the truck. Your safety and the safety of others on the road is of the utmost importance. If at any time you have an important question or serious issue, use your radio and call your supervisor or another experienced operator. Now that you have learned some of the general plowing techniques, let's talk about some of the special areas you may encounter along a route. There are a couple of ways to clear an intersection. The first is to straighten the plow as you enter the intersection. As you cross the roadway, move slightly to the right as you go through to catch as much snow as possible. Another method is to go through the intersection from every direction, always moving snow to the right. This method may require additional passes with the plow straight to clean up any snow left in the center of the intersection. If you are plowing an open or low side rail bridge, one that is open or low enough to allow the snow to go through or over, and if there's not another roadway or railroad below, plow it much the same as the road, pushing the snow to the right, over or through the barrier. However, if there is a road or railroad below, or if the bridge has high or closed barriers on each side, slow down and proceed carefully over the bridge to avoid throwing snow onto any oncoming traffic or tracks below. In this situation, set your plow straight or nearly straight and move as much of the snow to the end of the bridge so that you avoid snow piling up along the barrier. This is important since snow piles along the barrier can form a ramp which could facilitate a vehicle going up over the barrier and off the bridge. So for bridges with high closed barriers, plow straight and slow. On super elevated bridges, or those that are elevated higher on one side, move as much snow as possible to the low side of the bridge. This helps prevent snow on the high side from melting and freezing into ice as it flows across the bridge to the low side. The same applies for islands. Never plow snow onto raised islands. Snow will melt off and refreeze on the roadway. Whenever you go on or off a bridge, you must make certain that the angle of your blade is not parallel to the expansion joints. If it is, the blade can fall into the expansion joint and cause considerable damage to both your truck and the bridge. Also, be especially careful when plowing truss or pony truss bridges. Hitting a truss with a plow can also cause significant damage. Bridge decks tend to ice up before a roadway, so use caution whenever plowing a bridge. When approaching railroad tracks, raise your plow high enough to clear the tracks. Then lower it after you are completely across. A lowered plow can catch in the tracks and damage the moldboard, blade, and even the railroad tracks themselves. Also, be sure to stop any material from being spread on the tracks. A buildup of snow, ice, or material on the tracks could derail a train. For all railroad crossings, be sure to raise your plow and turn off your spreaders. Clearing ramps is similar to plowing any other type of road. There are just a couple of points to keep in mind. First, whenever possible, move snow from the high side of the ramp to the low side to prevent melting and freezing. And second, be sure your plow is angled in the proper direction before coming off a ramp and entering traffic. There are some situations where you will be pushing snow one way down a ramp, then need to push snow the other way as you enter the main line. The area between the road and the ramp is called a gore. Keeping gores clean helps drivers to approach and enter the traffic stream safely. Pushing snow beyond the gore and onto the shoulder is always the preferred removal technique. To do this, keep your plow straight as you enter the gore. Then angle the plow to the right after you pass it. Never push the snow straight into the gore. That would be similar to building a concrete wall near the roadway. Some gores have crash cushions. Crash cushions can come in a variety of shapes and sizes, but the procedure is always the same. Keep snow away from them whenever possible. Snow buildups near crash cushions can form deadly walls or ramps for oncoming drivers. When clearing some gores or point areas, team up with another operator so that one of you can control traffic while the other handles the cleanup. If possible, drive your route before it snows so you can take note and memorize locations of potential obstacles or problem areas. Guardrails, curbs, and islands are obvious problems to watch for. Other obstacles that you need to be on watch for include mailboxes, fire hydrants, delineators, light poles, guide wires, signposts, and stalled vehicles. In a bad storm, any of these obstacles can be hard to see and easy to hit. It is important to be aware of these hazards and to study your route before a winter weather event occurs. The Iowa DOT provides operators an opportunity to practice their plowing techniques in the fall using a snowplow simulator. The simulator helps drivers learn how to react to hazardous situations without any real risk. As your knowledge of each route improves, the speed and quality of your work will improve as well.
All right, so there was a lot in there that doesn't necessarily apply to us. We don't use wing plows, we don't plow gores, we don't plow interstates, but there was also a lot in there that does apply to us. So who heard some things in there that are important that you think we ought to reiterate? What's that? Windrows. Windrows are important because if they freeze, what happens? Giant ice blocks, that's right. So how do you do that? Moderate your speed as you go, especially at an intersection. But it's also important if you've got somebody behind you, they can move that windrow off to the edge of the pavement. What's another thing that you heard? Slow down at bridges. Slow down at bridges. That's a big deal for sure. Why is that? They freeze before everything else, yes, but it also, you end up with a windrow or a rooster tail that ends up going on the train tracks or on the road below. Yeah. Or onto your sidewalk crew, that's right. Oh, hold on. Let me get you a microphone.
Thanks, Chris. Anderson. So I do think that's a really important point. We are a small but mighty greenway and sidewalk crew back here, and we do a lot of handwork when stuff gets plowed into bridges, when stuff gets plowed into dead-end roads that dead-end at the greenway. So be mindful that we're out there. Some of the spots that we have issues are on like Williamson on the viaduct, Walnut Street Bridge, 10th Street Bridge, 5th Street, Hirschberger. There's a lot of linear miles of public sidewalks that we're out there with like ATVs or shovels or snow blowers. And a lot of the times where the roads dead end into the greenway, Piedmont Southeast, both ends of that dead end to the greenway, we were hand shoveling Arbor Ave Southeast last year because whoever was plowing in that zone just like plowed everything into the greenway. And a lot of what we do covers equity. We take care of the folks that can't get around town if they don't have a car, and they use the sidewalks and the greenways to do that. So keep that in mind. If there's any way that you can clear and back drag those areas, that would be so helpful for us when we come in there because, like I said, we're shoveling and it's a long day. Thanks.
Thanks, Renee. That's a good point. Excellent point. Yeah, you know, it used to be back in the day, we used to talk about the difference between being a steering wheel holder and being an operator. What's the difference? Using your brain, thinking about what you're doing, why you're doing it. Am I getting ready to cover up or make a job worse for the next guy coming in, guy or gal? Am I making it worse for the greenway folks? Am I putting snow in front of a mailbox? Am I putting snow intentionally in front of a driveway? Operators. That's what, I know everybody in this room has the capability of being an operator. And as the 12-hour shifts drone on, it's easy to kind of get in that steering wheel holder mode instead of being an operator. Yeah, excellent point. Thank you. All right. Well, it's 10 o'clock now, so let's take another break. And when you come back, we'll do some more door prizes.
9883. 9883. Come on down. Not you. I heard you was going to come up here and dance. That's you. Woo! Now you get to pick. There's stuff on both sides, so don't be shy. Look around. 9900. Woo!
All right, Scott, come on down.
You might have won.
Might have flipped him with some snow.
9895.
Well, there you go. High time.
Now look, it's broken. 9895. Going once.
Yep, that's right.
9914. Anybody? 9914. Winner. You're already scoping. You welcome. 9945. 9945. Anybody? Ooh, come on down.
All right, Donald. Hey, man.
All right, anything
What you want?
There's more on the other side. $9,859. Anybody? 9859. Is that you?
Had to double check there.
Oh,
All right.
there you go.
Yeah.
9919. Anybody? Snooze, you lose. 9927. Yes!
Sam got something.
Yeah, no,
Yes.
over here. Yes! We can grill in your office.
Love it.
Yes.
You're welcome.
9881. Donald! Thank you, Donald. 9894. Anybody? Bryson.
All right, John.
John. 9851.
9851.
9851.
Gerald.
Gerald. You want a grill? Can I interest you in something good? I don't know. What are you looking for? It's a mystery.
It's a mystery
What is
bag.
What'd you get? A speaker. We can party. Ooh, 9909. Come on. 9909.
All right, we'll do one more.
One more.
And then we'll get going.
Ooh, 9889. Winner. Thank you, sir. You're very welcome. Yay!
All right, we'll do more door prizes in just a little bit. Okay, so we've got a little bit of review of the last video, and then we're going to bring up the risk management folks.
Let me see those fingers.
We'll do a little bit more, and then we'll talk some Brian, and then we will have lunch here in about an hour or so. Okay, from the video, you notice that on divided highways, they talked about the first pass plowing left. That doesn't really work in the city. Orange Avenue, the far end east, you could probably do that, but very few areas in the city that would work. Most of the time we do what's on the screen up above here. 4-lane road, the first pass is on the inside, second pass, or if you're plowing tandem, second pass is on the outside, both pushing inside out. Tandem plowing, that is recommended, especially on arterials and collectors. If you've got a 5-lane cross section like Brandon or think about Hirschberger or Orange or any of those where you've got a center turn lane, it is really important to get as many trucks as you can, do it at once. Somebody start in the middle turn lane and push everything to the right as much as you can. And if that means you need to call some friends in from the next zone over, do that. Make it happen. What's wrong with this particular picture? You're pushing to the left. And if you've got a median, that doesn't work. Because if you've got a median, that means the crown of the road is sloping this way. What happens? That's going to freeze, and it's freeze-thaw, and you're going to have ice going across. That's the difference between an operator and a steering wheel holder, right? Bridges could freeze back. They do freeze back. Check them frequently, and that's a no-brainer. Plowing bridges, that was another good one. We talked about that earlier. The biggest thing is slow down on the bridges. That's one. Number two, realize that our sidewalk crews have to clean the snow from the sidewalks. Number three, expansion joints. Know what the angle is on that expansion joint. Make sure your plow is not at the same angle, because that can be significant damage to you, the truck, the plow, and the bridge. Yeah, this is just a picture showing what's below that bridge, right? And that's actually not, that's two different bridges. Downtown, we don't plow downtown for any of you new folks unless it's 5 inches or more, typically 5 inches or more, because when that happens, we have to haul it. So we load it in dump trucks and take it to Washington Park or Fallon Park, one of the parks. And that's an entirely separate operation all on its own. So we don't want to do that. We just try to melt it. But occasionally it happens and we have to do that. Cul-de-sacs, they're fun, aren't they? Where do you put it? To the right? Sure, you'd put it to the right. Take it in half, push it one side to the other side. What do you have to be careful of? Mailboxes, driveways, right? Roundabouts. We're getting more and more roundabouts. That's the one at Riverland and Bennington. There's now 3 on Colonial. There's others proposed. The new 13th Street over in Southeast will have one at some point. How do you plow it? There's your truck 1 going inside, pushing out, and then truck 2 is doing the around the edges. That's how you plow those things. All right, let's watch this one in particular. Talking about speed. And what was the speed they told you in the video? 25. And that is not in a neighborhood. That's on arterials and collectors.
A dangerous scene on the turnpike just south of Sandusky in Erie County today. A turnpike snowplow was going westbound near milepost 114. It appears to cause an accident on the other side of the road, and it was all caught on camera.
You know it ain't accident. Oh. Plow just caused an accident.
Now, Michael Lemon, who was the truck driver recording that video, shared with us what happened. From what you can see in the video, the snowplow shoots the snow from the westbound lane onto the other side. One car then appears to hit another and then slide off the road.
You saw the one plow accident. 55 vehicles had damaged windshields or other things from that one driver. How fast was he going? As fast as he could go, right? I mean, that's just, where can you do that in the city? You can't. Where could you do it if you weren't paying attention? Franklin Road, Peters Creek, you could do it on any of these. Steering wheel holder versus operator. Keep coming back to that. All right, some considerations. Plow cutting edges. That's what that is. That's what a cutting edge is. Down there at the bottom. If you see this down here, that means the moldboard, the plow itself, is now being ground down by the street pavement. You damage that to a certain point, and we have to replace the entire plow. That's not a good thing. Operator versus steering wheel holder, right? Minimum 3 inches that you gotta have there. Snow chains, Travis Carter's gonna do a little snow chain tutorial out in the parking lot. If you haven't done that before, it's really important to know how to put those tire chains on properly. Because anybody can throw them on there, but they'll get thrown off too if you're not careful. Check your equipment frequently. Tire chains, tie downs, cutting edges. What happens when you hit a manhole? Bam! Makes you think. Sounds like a shotgun going off, especially those that are raised up too high like the ones in the pictures there. Yeah, steel plates, we always have a note. Dan Durham's really good about getting us the locations of the steel plates. Those are important to know where those are. And then pedestrians. Everything's fun and games, right? Until they start throwing snowballs at you. No rooster tail now. We don't want to have any. We don't want to have any pedestrian crashes. All right, we've got at least one slope over in South Roanoke. Which street is it, John, that they sled on? Stanley. That's right. I should know that. Our former public works director lives on Stanley. They do that. We give them a day or two, and then we say, all right, it's time. Oh, there's one in Wasina? I'm not sure I knew that. Yeah. So there's another one in Wasina. That's good to know, Bill. All right, equipment repairs. If you need equipment repairs, what do? Notify your zone leader. They need to know if you're out of the zone for whatever reason, right? Because we're teamwork. You know where they are, they know where you are, you're working together as a team. One doing cross streets, one doing the numbered streets, however you want to work it, especially on arterials and collectors. But also notify your coordinator. So you got the tractor shop, OPE shop, plows and tire chains, fleet does vehicles, hydraulics, spreaders. All right, vehicle crashes. Call control if there's injuries. But number one thing you do is contact your zone leader and your coordinator. If you're involved in a vehicle crash, contact your zone leader and coordinator and you complete an incident police report. And with that, I'm going to call up Miss Nicole and she's going to talk a little bit. No, that would be no fun. You want me to put the mic up here?
I can yell when I'm mad at my kids, but. So I'm gonna pick up right where he said the claim form. So our team put together these awesome little packets that Nathan has been putting in the vehicles. And we redid the claim forms for everyone. So we have this nice little QR code that he created. So whenever you have an incident, just hand it over to the claimant and it gives them instructions on how to file the claim. And we also have Spanish, so if we run into a claimant that needs that. Also in here, we gave everyone one business card and it has all of our information on it, mine, Nathan's, and then Cynthia. So she would be the third person to contact if you can't get to Nathan and myself. So Nathan is going to be at Public Works during the snow season, helping everyone. I will be on the other end of the phone or email. I will come down there if I'm needed, but he's going to be hands-on that day. So look for Nathan. I think all of y'all know who he is, considering he's been doing your safety training for us. The other thing is we created is an employee card. And so that will also be in your vehicles. And this will tell you if there's an incident and you need to go have a drug test. The quickest place to go, of course, we all know is AFC. They do a quick turnaround. They do the quick test as long as you're not CDL operator. So those will be in there as well. And he will also be here this afternoon with Chris at a table. So if you have any questions about that, he can answer those questions as well. This is my second snow season. I came in at the end of this month last year. And I want to say for being the first time at the city for the snow season, you guys did a fantastic job. I think we had about 24 incidents, and they were pretty much all just minor. And worked with Kristen very well. You guys got her everything we needed to get everything over to VACORP to work the claims quickly. Just remember, take more pictures, more the better. I don't care if you give me 500 pictures of one incident, more is better. And number two, just write everything down that you can remember, because by the time you get back, you're not going to remember exactly what happened. So again, we appreciate everything you guys are doing to keep the city safe. Keep up the good work, and please come back home safe and sound this year. And that's all that I have, I think. Did I miss anything, Nathan? Awesome. Thank you, guys. I appreciate everything.
All right, thank you, Miss Nicole. Okay. Private property, this is a no-brainer. Don't plow private property. All that's going to do is get you in trouble. It's not worth it unless somebody's going to buy your retirement, your pension plan. Don't do it. The other point on here, when taking a break, park the trucks on the street. If you're in a parking lot of a convenience store, somebody's going to want you to plow on the way out. All right. Will Cole, you want to come up and talk about salt brine and pre-wet? And while he's coming up, so the salt barn, we just got a delivery of 1,390 tons at just over just over $100 a ton. That's $150,000 we just spent. Is the salt barn full? Pretty close to full. So, question for you, and I've said this last year, maybe some of you remember, average snow event, 8 or 9 inches, how many tons of salt are we gonna go through? No, not all of it. About 1,000 tons. About 1,000 tons of salt. Over $100 a ton. $100,000 just in material. And I already talked about overtime rate, $1,500 an hour. Snow removal is expensive, and it is important. All right, Will, you want to hold this or you want me to put it back?
Not necessarily, no. Am I introducing the staff too?
Well, you can.
All right. Where's Marty at, and Sydney, and Adam? So, Marty, raise your hand. Sydney, you're kind of in the dark over there. Kind of wave your hand so everybody sees them.
I'll come down
Yeah, come on down. Adam, come on up here too. So I'm going to talk about our pre-wet system. If anybody remembers, this will be our second year with the AccuBrine system. Before we had what I call our Franklin County moonshine operation. It was 2 big giant cattle feeding bins that basically just circulated water like you're making beer or moonshine, depending on what you want to do. So when you're loading in the rock salt, this is going to be our kind of what it looks like when you pull into our salt barn here. You're going to back up, you're going to have cones there. Front loader will load you up. What I ask is the salt brine operation's actually right next to it. To load your pre-wet system is going to be in your dump trucks, and we also have one brine pre-wet system in the Boss spreader 3319, which is for TBD, I believe. I can't remember who has it for night shift, but so why we use salt brine, basically, who's cooked eggs without using Pam or butter? It sticks to the pan, right? And it's terrible to clean. You put Pam or butter down, it helps it from sticking, and it just comes clean right off. That's why we use our pre-wet systems, or Adam right here. And then there's a few guys on the north side, I can't remember who does the pre-wet or the pre-treatment for the storm. But we do that before the storm as long as it's not wet. We can't do it during freezing rain. Why we use the pre-wet system, basically, if you're using dry salt, so without using pre-wet at all, you're looking at 25 to 30 minutes activation time. Pre-wet system, we've done some pretty good experiments downtown because CBD we cannot plow. So we've done multiple different experiments. We get about 10 to 15 minutes activation. I like to say I got kids and we love to go swimming. The little squishy balls that you turn, that get wet and you throw at people, when they're dry, they just bounce, right? So when you have dry salt, it hits the ground and bounces. You lose quite a lot of salt. And then if it's wet, it actually just like sticks to the ground basically. Same thing for the pre-wet system. When your dump trucks or the one ball spreader we have for the pre-wet, it will stick to the ground. Dwayne continues to talk about the budget and material costs and how much salt we use. Well, that helps with the salt. It helps clear the roads a lot quicker. It also keeps you from loading every hour, basically. I like to say brine will work anywhere from 15, won't really work any lower than 15 degrees. Right now, we only are using our normal rock salt and water. Hopefully in the future, we'll be able to kind of get some chemicals in there to where we could go even into the single digits, but magic number would be about 15 degrees. It says it on the slide, but we've got it to work anywhere 15, 14, 13 degrees around there. So this is a lift gate on the dump trucks. So there's gonna be a little handle. Let's see, where am I? On the right side. Yeah, right side. You're gonna wanna go up to 2. It has from 10 to 2. One thing I like to say is before you get in your truck, check it. Definitely the day after, or like the first day of the snowstorm. After cleaning, we rack those things all the way up.
and they're usually at 8 or 10, you're not going to make it very far. You'll probably make it to the old sheets, and then you'll need more salt. So you'll want to go 2. Again, it's 2 inches technically. One of the experiments that we did was actually, we've closed the gate. If you have a pre-wet system, we can actually go to 1.25 or 1/2. So you can actually close that gate, use less salt. Again, you're using the pre-wet system, so it's activating, and it's not spreading onto the curves, the medians, sidewalks, people's cars. It actually stays on the road. Here's the AccuBrine. I'm sure everybody's seen it at Public Works. If you haven't, you'll see it today. I'll actually be here. My salt brine team will be there also answering questions, showing you how to load the pre-wet system, showing the process of it. But this is our pre-wet. This is our AccuBrine. Before it was 2 jugs, and we had to add water, salt. Now it's all computerized. I still monitor it, even though I'm a millennial. I still don't trust computers. So it actually makes it for us. We can make up to about, what would you say, Adam? Probably, yeah, the sales is 10,000 gallons an hour, but realistically it's about 6,000 gallons an hour. Our old system, we were making about 1,200 an hour. So we can constantly continue to make it. We actually now have a monitoring system. We can actually make it from any computer, basically a laptop. Here's the pre-wet system I was talking about for the dump trucks. So what basically it uses like a levee type fill. So you'll hook it up, and the next slide will actually show you. You'll hook it up and it will fill the first tank first and then the second tank last. But what we'll tell you, and again, either Adam or Cindy or Marty will be there, is close your main tank, fill your second tank up first. Once that fills up, close that, open it up, and that gets you your true levee fill, so it's not overflowing too much. Excuse me. So this is where you load it to, the one on the left right there with the yellow handle. So you actually see the pictures. It's kind of hard to see. Do you have? So here's a lever right here, lever right here, lever right here. So this one right here is going to be your cutoff and cut on of the tank on the opposite side of the spreader. And then this one right here is actually your main cutoff. This one right here, behind this piece of steel right here, will be your cutoff for the main tank or the first tank. So again, that one will fill up first. If you do turn them off, it would actually fill this one up first, and then we'll actually just gravity feed into the next one, like a boat levee, basically. So fill here, obviously. Empty here. Usually if you're using your pre-wet system, you won't need to empty it because it will use it. For pre-wet system, you'll have to load every other time you come in for salt. So normally there will always be one of us up here, one of the 4 of us up here. And again, I'll kind of go in more detail of this afternoon when y'all come and visit us at the brine station. But we have our brine making computer, and then this is our truck fill. So there's a whole thing. So before, if anybody was here before, our old system, we literally gravity fed in. It took 30 minutes to fill a pre-wet system up. It literally takes less than 4 minutes now. So every truck, basically you'll go to the truck loading button there, and you'll see this, the middle screen here will come up. The truck code is going to be your truck number. Every truck number is in the system now. And if they sneak a new truck in, I'll make sure I put it in before the next system, or the next snow system. Usually what we do have is, you'll see the truck code 1. That's kind of like if they sneak a new truck in there between snowstorms, just use that code. Product code's always 1, and then however many gallons. What we figured out for the brine trucks was about 750 gallons would fill it from empty to top. And the pre-wet systems would be anywhere from 50 to 75-ish. Marty, Sydney, about that, yeah, give or take. Those tanks are actually 100 gallons each, but if you fill them up too quick, again, it's like a levee, so it's kind of like the Panama Canal. So if you fill them up too much, it will overflow. And again, I'll go over this in more detail. Thank you. Any questions? Hopefully not. All right.
All right, so I want to be sure now that everybody has seen Cindy will be up there on the night shift in the barn. Marty will be up there on the day shift in the AccuBrine barn. And then, of course, Will and Adam work downtown during the events. Okay, let's see what time it is. It is about 11:15. So, Miss Kristen, you want to do some door prizes here?
We got hats too. You want to throw some hats, Dwayne?
Yeah.
Hands up. Here they come.
Who wants a hat?
Hands up. All right, 9932.
That didn't go very well.
Oh, I'm getting closer. Yay!
Who wants that?
9905. Thank you, man. Pick anything you want. You have to kind of feel them. Soft, it might be one. Or some on the other side too, so you might want to check those out. You're 9905. Winner, winner. All right, pick you something out there. Either side.
All right, Larry, grab something.
9899. Oh, snap. Thank you, Sarah. 9865. Oh, look at you. I expect to see you in that. 9865. Thank you, sir. Hmm. 9875. Shake these up a little bit.
Everybody coming from the same spot right there.
I know. 9922. I swear it's not rigged.
You shake that thing a little better.
Thank you, sir. 9857. 9857. No. 9947. He's disqualified. Right, Bill? Greg's disqualified. All right. Okay. There's some down there too. 9860. Well, you're sad. What's going on over here?
I don't know.
Hmm. 9943. Thank you, sir. You're welcome. 9943. Mystery number?
All right, one more, Kristen.
Okay. 9845. Ah. Let's see, is that Bill? I was. Thank you, sir. Good.
All right, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna do the breakout sessions. So every coordinator will take their particular zones and you'll break out and you'll do about 15 minutes or so and talk about things that are more specific to your particular zones. I mean, there's some hills, and there's some, challenges in each zone that need to be talked about. So with that, who are my coordinators? You guys want to stand up so that you know who you are and where to go? All right, you know who to go with? And y'all can go out in the lobby, you can go here, wherever you want to go. It doesn't make any difference. Just be back at 11:05.
for coming back together for sections 1, 2, and 3 on the south side. Some new faces. I'm Laura Riley. I'm the coordinator in charge of those sections. So last year I was fairly new to this. I learned a lot. You guys learned a lot. We learned a lot about each other. And so what we want to do this year is just kind of go over a couple of procedural things that we have as sections and coordinators as a whole. The first thing is that when a snow event is called, that every one of you guys, whether you're day shift or night shift, you're going to come down and check in the park's office suite. If you're day shift, you're going to check in at 7 a.m. Be sure to check in with me so we know that you're here. 7 p.m. if you're night shift, same thing. You're going to check in. Brian Harris is going to be the night shift supervisor. He's not here today, but for those of you, if you don't know Brian, someone will point him out to you. So the first thing is to really make sure when you get there that check in, and so we know that you're there, and we can fill in gaps if we need to. The second thing is that if you're going to be late, if something is keeping, I think there were a couple of times last year where people couldn't get out of their driveways and they had trouble getting to work. Please text or call me. I will share my cell phone number with everyone and to let me know that you're running late, that you're having trouble. If there's something we can do to help you, if you're in city limits, we'll do what we can to get you to where you need to be. The other thing is to contact your regular supervisor that you report to during the day as well if you're running late. The reason is because your supervisor does your time. So to make sure that payroll is done accurately, that we know that if you are an hour late because you couldn't get out of the driveway, that we're not trying to figure out what happened, that your supervisor can account for that as well. You'll also want to note that on your time sheet when you get there, or on your inspection sheet. You all put the time that you work on there. That will be important to note exactly, that you were on time and that you left on time. For Southside Day, what we typically do is what we got into the habit of doing, we felt like it worked really well, is we all kind of came together and we talked about any issues or things that happened overnight that day shift needed to know about. So it's important for night shift to communicate issues. It's important for us to communicate that to the day shift drivers. So for example, in section 1, you're in section 2, right, James? So in section 2, if we were only able to give, there was 1 or 2 streets that were really causing us issues, we would be sure to let you know so you could go out and check those, that they added a lot of salt before they left, but now they're ready to be plowed. Those are the kind of things that we want to communicate, is any kind of issues or problems or concerns that you had, first of all. Second of all, for equipment issues, if your truck broke down and you had to shop it, it's really important that you communicate that, because every single truck is being used, for the most part, every truck is being used on day shift and night shift, so those trucks are seeing a lot of use. We had that trouble with your truck, I think, a couple of times where we came in and it wasn't, whoever driven it the night before had some issues. It wasn't communicated. Where's the truck? We don't know. So it's just really important to communicate any kind of equipment issues that night shift has with Brian or with me. I usually get there early so day shift can get off to a smooth start. Also, staffing issues. Last year, we had January. It was tough, not just because of that snow, but we had several people out with COVID. Like, y'all remember, there was like 6 or 8 people out that crazy week that we had, which just added to it. So, again, if you're not going to be there for some reason, we're all required to be here for snow. But if you're sick, that's different. So be sure to let us know. The other thing that we talk about on those morning meetings is what type of snow, what worked for night shift, what didn't work. This snow is super dry and powdery, so you really need to be using the wet system so the salt will stick, or that it's a really, really wet snow and we had trouble getting it pushed up. All of those kind of things need to be discussed. And then we'll also talk about salt loading details. For those of you who know, the salt barn has got 2 loading ends. You can load from either end, and so we're working on making the salt loading process more efficient, so that last year I think you'd stand in line, or you had to sit in line for an hour to get your truck loaded with salt. So we are working on making that more efficient, and we'll either have 2 loaders at the beginning of the shift, so you can load from either end, or we're working on at least staggering it out so that as night shift is coming in, that we do a better job of communicating that they need to have the salt, the truck filled before they leave. Does that make sense, how I said that? The next thing, I forgot to grab a pre-trip inspection sheet. Most of you, I was going to hold that up for example, but most of you all know what that looks like, but it is a spreadsheet that Dwayne showed a picture of, that when you come in, you're going to do a pre-trip inspection on your truck and make sure everything is in working order, that all the headlights work, the wipers work, all of those kind of things. I feel like, and I could be wrong, a lot of times last year people would just go through and check it and hadn't really done it. It's really important that you do that. We do go over those. If there's truck issues, if something's been shopped, put that on that inspection sheet, because that's how we make sure we follow up to make sure the trucks are being worked on, that they didn't fall through the cracks in fleet, that they are in the process of getting them back out and running. So pre-inspection sheets and then the post-trip inspection, please make sure to get those filled out completely. That paperwork is in the office suite that we have. There's pins there. You grab the sheet, you fill it out, and there's an inbox there where they all go. I think everybody did. The only issue we had last year is I had one that was completely illegible. I don't know who it was. I couldn't read the name at all. So please, I don't even know who, we couldn't even narrow it down. And we use those also, same thing for time management, to make sure that when we're going in, everybody, we're not here for free, right? We want to get paid. So day shift, in order to get time and a half, night shift is double time. In order to get those calculations correct, I need your sheets turned in correctly. So the other thing, as far as with the pre-trip inspection, the one thing we wanted to mention is that make sure that if there are some issues with your truck, to report it to me. That doesn't mean to come to me before you go to fleet. If you need to shop the truck. Just make sure I know. Tim, there was a couple of times last year that I feel like we couldn't find you a truck. Like every truck I gave you was shopped. Every truck that we said to try was shopped. So we're trying to improve that communication. The other piece of that is the truck radio. Every truck is equipped with a radio. Make sure when you get in it that it's functioning, or check with your section, whoever the folks are that are in section 3. Make sure that all of y'all know who each other is, and that you check your radio with each other and you can hear it and everything's good. Help each other out. If Andrew doesn't have the headlights on, somebody tell him, right? You guys are a group working together for one common goal. So we want it to be as successful and safe and efficient as it can be. Post-trip, and it's actually part of pre-trip and post-trip, wiping your trucks down. Dwayne talked about that. I'm pretty fanatical about it. I really, making sure your truck is clean. There's a couple of people that are not in our section, because we're the best group of people, but there's some people who are known for leaving the honey bun wrappers and all the trash in their truck, and then the next people get in and they're like, this truck's a mess. That's not us. We make sure to clean your truck out. Nobody wants to get into a messy truck, or a soup container turned over, or dirty spoons or forks, or whatever it is. Please be sure to wipe the truck down. Fuel it up, and there will be an announcement on the radio if you need to put salt in the truck before the end of your shift or not. We will make that announcement as we get closer to the end of the shift. All announcements about the shift will happen on the radio, so that's why it's important to keep it on. It's frustrating sometimes. There's a lot of chatter on the radio. We know that. But try to pay attention, at least keep it where you can hear it if there is some announcement that we might have. Getting stuck in vehicle crashes. Dwayne has talked about this a little bit. However, the first thing for you, number one, if anyone is injured, if there's any kind of injury, call the police. Call the police first, and then call me. And what my role is, this is really where my role comes into play, is when there are things that happen like this, I will come out and help you with accident reporting, dealing with the police, getting the police all the information, dealing with the citizens, making sure that everything is handled correctly. We don't want to leave you guys out there alone. And it could be very minor. Last year we had someone they were in section 3, I think, where they were there in Old Southwest, and they were making a hard right-hand turn, and they clipped the corner of a car. We had to find the owner of the car. There was a lot of details that came into that. The police came and helped, and it all was fine. It wasn't a big deal. It wasn't a major crash, but there's still procedures for every single thing. If you hit a mailbox, call me and let me know. Citizens are going to be filing claims against the city and reports for those things, as they should, we need to have our documentation in place when that happens. That's really what I want to help you guys with, because it's stressful anyway. People are everywhere and kids are throwing snowballs at you. It's a stressful thing. Let me help you with that. The other thing too that I would add, this is just going to be my piece with that, you guys do a really good job of helping each other out. When someone gets stuck, the first thing to do is to check with the other people in your section and see if someone can come help you. If that's not the case, then call me and we will get somebody out there to help you get pulled out. We've had some pretty major stucks, right, Brittany?
I got video proof of it.
Brittany got wicked stuck. Well, she got a little stuck, and then somebody tried to help her, and she got more stuck, and then it was a big deal. And it took, I think Woods had to send 3 to...
Tractor-trailer wreckers to drag it out of it.
And it was just in somebody's yard. It's just, it was really wet, and it just sunk. So those things happen. Those things happen. So whatever you do, do not leave the scene, no matter what it is. Wait on the police and wait on me to get there. If it's not me, it would be one of the other coordinators in case I'm absent. Bill West and Greg, the 3 of us work together. Communication, please. Oh no, I skipped over something. I apologize. The final thing about the accidents or the crashes, incident reports must be completed before you leave for leave your shift that day. So if you have had an incident that day, please plan on coming in just a little bit early so we can get your signature on the paperwork and that sort of thing. AVL, Dwayne talked about the AVL system. I know that that it's something new that we're all kind of getting used to, but after the event last year where we got pages and pages and pages of citizens calling in wanting to know when we were getting our street or where we hadn't been there and we haven't been there and we haven't been there, being able to go back and check that we had was a great help. It really is a good tool. So just be mindful of that system and what it is. Communication with the people in your section, knowing who else is in night shift section 1 is important so you guys can communicate and talk to each other. And just like he was saying who I think Wayne or somebody said, was it you that said, I'll take the numbered streets and you take the cross streets? Coming up with a system, I think you guys did a really great job with that last year of communicating who was where and how you could support one another. So communicating with the rest of your section, knowing who they are, and just talking out, hey, I'm going to stop for a drink. Even that kind of stuff is important to communicate so we can help each other out. Having said all of that, the most important thing for us is safety. Certainly your safety, certainly the citizen's safety, the safety of our first responders. What we're doing is so important. So it's really crucial that first of all, that you take care of yourself, that you get plenty of sleep, that you are ready to be called in. Don't celebrate a huge event the night before and maybe not feel so good the next morning. Be mindful of our responsibilities and what we have to do, because it's crucial to the livelihood of our citizens in our city. Thinking about medical professionals who have to get into work, that sort of thing. If you've ever been in that situation, it really puts a new perspective on what we do. Make sure to eat properly and hydrate. Part of that morning meeting or the end of shift meeting is that sometimes last year Mission Barbecue provided us several meals, and so all of that information will be communicated on the radio, but also in that morning meeting. Be sure to we usually have snacks. Be sure to take care of yourself food-wise. Prepare yourself and dress appropriately. I keep extra clothes in the car because you never know when something's going to happen. You need more clothes or dry socks, that sort of thing. Use good defensive driving techniques. The one thing that Dwayne didn't show here this year are some of those videos with citizens driving crazy around us. The one thing that we talked some about some incidents with citizens driving crazy. Every experienced driver in here has got a story about somebody doing something ridiculous and almost causing them to crash. People get out, they want to get out, and you have to be have to have your head on a swivel. You really have to watch, not just for yourself, but for everyone around you, for the kids throwing the snowballs. So please be mindful that having that kind of awareness is tiring. Staying that on for hours at a time is exhausting. So be sure to take breaks. Be sure to take time to kind of pull yourself together for that. So the final thing that I have, that's really it. Is there any questions about any of that? Yes.
So if we're in a dump truck and we clip a car or someone on accident, since we're in a CDL operated vehicle, are we going to be required to take a drug test then and there?
So,
or is it a monetary amount that has to exceed that to take a drug test? Or is it,
what was that last part?
Is it like a monetary amount, a damage that has to be done before you have to go take the drug test?
So the question is about if we do clip a car because we are CDL drivers, if we immediately have to go take a drug test. And I think that we do.
I will. A complex drug test, so most time you're out 2 days, you can't drive.
I'll confirm that. Let me confirm that with risk management. He was just standing right here.
I was under the assumption, I might change for snow, but even if you are a CDL driver, if you get into something, but no one's injured, then usually the city, and I don't know what about snow, but if no one's injured, then you don't have to.
So the policy has changed as far as drug testing is concerned, and that it has become much more rigorous. So if you are in some type of an accident where a report is being filed, that you do have to do that. I'll need to check on that because the other thing is if they're open.
To come pick up the truck too, because you can't drive.
That's exactly right. So, and that would be part of my role would be to take you with that. I'm not exactly sure. We'll get clarification on exactly how that will work. But I think that we should expect it and let's plan on it. And if it's the opposite, I would rather us be prepared for that to be the case.
You were saying there's
Hey, Nathan.
Yes, ma'am.
So, Nathan, could you please, and if you'll speak clearly for the camera.
Yeah, of course.
If you would please explain, we asked about as CDL drivers, if we flip a car and there's an accident report, I'm called, we get there.
Let's get things wrapped up here.
Is a drug test required for that?
It's going to depend on how much damage is done.
Okay, so you're right.
That's why I'll be on call, or Nicole will be on call. So if that does happen, just loop us in on it.
Well, what if it is just like a fender bender or a
But the city policy is $500.
$500.
I know you do get it 2 days.
Yeah.
These days, $500 to get there. I mean, you straight pay.
Oh, yeah.
We understand that those situations are going to be a little bit different.
So that's it. So I would defer. So with Nathan in the building when there are events, I would defer to him just a little bit on that.
Yeah,
so
just call us and let us know. Go through your coordinators and zone folks, and then let us know.
So there's a potential where a lot of drivers could be out for 2 days.
We're working.
See where some guys are? All these chairs are beside each other. Yeah, go on, I got you gonna move down.
Last year, you remember, it was the same course as we have used with the Public Works rodeos. This year, it's different. Speed has 0 influence on your score. The snowplow course this year is all about how close you can get to cones without knocking them over. We will have folks actually measuring the distance between you and the cones. That's how your score is generated. This is about precision and accuracy with your plow. Operator versus steering wheel holder. How good are you with that snowplow, putting it close to a cone without knocking it over? Or a mailbox, or a vehicle, or a curb, or whatever it is that we're simulating there. All right, any questions about that? Okay, that'll be after lunch. I do want to hear from the new folks that are here, that are brand new to the snow program. What have you learned? And Kristen's got some gift cards for those that want to speak up. What have you learned today that you didn't know anything about that was a surprise to you?
When you're driving a vehicle, make sure your seatbelt is on, because if you hit a manhole cover, it could throw you through the windshield.
Yeah, those manhole covers, man, they'll get you. What else is something new that you haven't heard? Yep, she's going over this direction.
Stay under 25.
Under 25, that's a big deal, yes. And that's only on our arterials and collectors. In the residentials, it's probably 15 or 10. Now, these are brand new folks now. It's not anybody that's been around. I want to give the new folks an opportunity.
Use a straight plow if it's a solid wall, so you don't build a ramp for the car to drive over a bridge.
That was a good one, yeah. We'll come back to you.
That you use a different amount of plow depending on how much snow is on the ground.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good one.
I'll use some lights.
All right, we'll do one more. Well, I guess we can do 2 more.
Come through. Oh, you good, you good.
Hey, don't worry about it. But going slow over a bridge and making sure your snowplow is raised up or a train track.
That's good. Raising up the plow over a train track, that's important. Last thing you want to do is hit that thing.
You good?
Damage the plow, damage the truck, damage the rails. Damage you, that's right. And we had one more over here. All right, last one.
Always communicate with your supervisor and your other teammates by using the mic. What's it called?
The radio?
Using the radio, yeah.
City radio, yeah.
Just always communicate with everyone.
Yep, that's good. That's a really important point. Teamwork. You got to know where your other folks are in your zone. They have to know where you are. It's all about teamwork on this thing. Okay, the plan for the rest of the day. There are 7 different zones, not zones, I shouldn't say zones, stations that are mostly outside. So when we get done with lunch, we're going to go outside and there will be bingo cards that you take to each zone. When you return, you'll give the bingo cards to Kristen or the ladies up front, and at the end of the day, we will draw for additional prizes based upon the bingo cards. So that's just an incentive to get you to go to each station. You get that, right? That's what it is. We're trying to get you to go to each station. But we've got 7 different ones. Everything from how to use 4-wheel drive, if you haven't done that, the tire change station, we talked about that. There's the snowplow course. There is what we're calling the sand course, where you can actually push gravel with your plow. If you've never pushed before, it's really important to try to do that. so that you know what it feels like, so that you know what oversteer feels like before you get into an actual event. So there are a good number of them. The risk management folks will be up there, and I'm forgetting a couple, but anyway, you'll see there are 7 different stations that we'll have set up. Lunch, go back to the front where you registered. There are 2 sets of stairs that go upstairs. Lunch is upstairs, since it's so cold today. Now, if you want to take it outside, that's certainly up to you, but lunch is upstairs and you can take it outside. All right. Yes, question? Glad you asked that. 2:30. You need to be back in here at 2:30. Lunch will be over. It's 20 after 11. So theoretically, 11:50, we can start with the outside information. So you got 2.5 hours to get through 7 stations and then get back inside. Oh, that's right. The Aki-Brown station is the Public Works. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, that's good to know. Good bit of information. All right, what am I forgetting? Are we good? Okay, you've got boxed lunches upstairs. John, you got one other thing? What you got? Oh, right. One other point that John brought up, which is a good one. If you're in a particular zone and there's a manhole that's raised and it's frustrating you, bring that location to me and let me see if I can't get it adjusted. If it's a water authority manhole or a stormwater manhole, it's not cheap to do, but repairing plows is not cheap either. So good point, John. Thank you for bringing that up. That's always a good one. All right, lunch is upstairs. We'll see everybody back in here at 2:30.